uh, raise their hand
It's
to
okay.
speak?
It's okay.
Okay.
Don't force me because every time when anyone comes on, we have to try to go back and do that. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is March 2nd, 2022. Welcome to the Julie and Milo show. My name is Julie. I'm coming to you from Orange County, California. My dear friend Milo Davis, who is on the road right now, and he is not joining us, but Milo Davis is coming from Nashville, Tennessee, and he is going to join us as soon as he's ready to do that. Thank you so much, all the founders, guests around the world joining us today on the beautiful show. We do hold this show every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We also hold the show on Saturday, every Saturday from 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Normally, our show is 2 hours long. If you can join us anytime, would be great. We love to have the participations of all the founders and guests around the world. I am also would like to welcome all our friends and viewers on our YouTube channels. If you are watching Marty DeGamo YouTube channel, Red Redfern, Bill Must, the Julie and Milo show, OnPassive Nation, OnPassive, anywhere that you're watching us right now, please hit the subscribe button and the bell, just so that every time when we have a live going, which we do have live on our YouTube channel almost every day throughout the week, if you subscribe to that and click the bell, you will always have a notification for you to join us. We upload shows, live videos, recording almost 2-3 times a day. So if you are watching us through our YouTube channels, please make sure you click the thumb up and click the subscribe button so that you can be part of what we share here. Thank you so much, all our friends and family and founders of OnPassive joining us today. Today, we are focusing on how OnPassive as a company. OnPassive is an artificial intelligence information technologies. We do have 1.2 million people right now currently that are paid founders of OnPassive. We are going to have so many more when we introduce our company to the world. However, at this time, you do have the opportunity to be part of the founding member of the company. Yes, you can come in for $97 plus the $5 credit card fee if you're paying for credit cards. Join us and learn and witness the process and the progress of how this company is found. Today on the Julie and Milo show, we want to focus on how OnPassive as a company with products, when I said products, I meant digital products, be able to help single parent, single mom, single dad, even grandparents, or even mom to be or dad to be, right? Because according to, and I'm gonna read some statistic, which I literally just collected today, and it's really crazy, right? When you having a child, when we're talking about from birth to 18 years old, according to the US Department of Agriculture, the average cost of raising a child to age 18 is $233,610. That is calculated as of 2015. With an annual adjustment of inflations at 2.2% each year factor in, the lifetime cost of raising a child in 2022 is could be estimated at $272,049. Imagine if you have more than one child. All you gotta do is calculate that. And this is before college, right? If you are a middle income parents, you could spend an average of $272,000 per child before turning 18, right? The largest expense associated with raising a child is housing, and then followed by food. And then you have to factor in the cost of childcare, right? That could be endless. But you know what? If you have more than one child, imagine how hard it is, right? To work your life, raising a child, and then also not only just the survival part of it, what about the physical, the spiritual, the mental part of it, right? Food, I think, is one of the biggest things, right? If you have a monthly basis, thrifty plan to feed one child, and this is according to the data that I got in the US, it's going to cost you $855 a month only on food if you have a thrifty plan, right? If you have a low cost plan to feed a child per month, it's about $941.70. If you have a little bit more moderate plan, it's $1,168. And all these is according to the Department of Agriculture in the US. And if you have a little bit of liberal, kind of like a little bit on the higher end of food plan for each child, it could cost you almost $1,500 a month to feed a child. Now, if you have a family of 5 kids, how are you going to be able to survive? How are you going to be able to focus on raising this little child physically, right? What about discipline? What about extracurricular? What about you want this child to involve in sport? What about dance? What about all these things? So we're really focusing on this child that we have. Being a single mom, there are so much work to do. And as a parent with the kid's husband around, I do understand that raising or staying home at home mom is 3 to 4 full-time job. It's a lot of work to raise a child, right? So the question here that I wanted to bring up is how, as a single mom, well, when I said single mom, I could also refer to single dad, single grandparent, right? Or a new mom or a new dad that expecting a child growing up. All these things that I wanted to bring here, so all of us could kind of chime in, because I do know a lot of our friends here on the panels have had children, have raised a child or two, right? What about some of the children are in special needs? What if they need an extra help? You know, how are you going to be able to help? You know, how are you going to be able to raise this child that you are care for so much? 9 months in your tummy, 9 months in your tummy, and you want to give birth to this beautiful baby, and you want to be able to afford to raise this baby. I have to tell you this. When I had my daughter, the first ultrasound I saw was her spinal cord. It touches my heart so much. At that time, I was in my 20s, just literally graduated from college, working on my teaching degree, and then joined my husband at the time, talking about kids. She's texting me constantly. All right, okay, sorry. Truly at that time, I'm like, how am I going to be able to raise this beautiful kid that so connected to me? 9 months that this baby has put a tremendous change in my body, right? Mentally, physically, right? And now you deliver this baby, you're asking yourself, how are you going to be able to raise this beautiful child to become, however you want to put it. My dream for my daughters to be able to travel the world, to be able to do everything that they ever dreamed of. But being single mom or single dad or single parent, how are you going to be able to bring those dreams in reality? So those are the things that I wanted to share and bring this up here with all of us. And I do know that there are grandparents here, moms that have kids already out to college. You have a lot of experience. You have a lot of things to contribute into this program. So I'm asking you right now, if you could bring up some of the struggles that you have, and then we can bring in OnPassive as a company where all of us know that this is a blessing. This company OnPassive will give us the ability to build a legacy. But before that, we want to have the abundance living. We want to be able to give the best to our children. So I like to bring some of that subject here. It does cost a lot to raise a child. And I'm looking forward for you to contribute in the program. I'm looking for hand raise. If you have something to add to this, I would love for you to do. So now I like to start by saying, who is raising a child right now or children currently? I am one of them. Let's see. Chris, you are raising one. I know yours is in college, but she's currently with you. And so I'm asking anyone who wants to contribute into this, because I know you had raised a child or children before. Roger, I'd love to hear from you.
Good evening, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Milo, for bringing me on. And thank you, Dr. Benny, for giving me the time and the link. Yeah, when you talk about raising the child, you talk from your wound to the child coming out on earth. As being on the medical field had taught me a lot, because with that, my experience, I see how the parent raised the kids from the womb till the birth. But not only that, Julie and everyone, when you raise a child, it's not to send him to school, give him the education. But guess what? There's a school that you didn't send your kids to. We don't send our kids to the school of life. And the school of life is what? What we learn in life. We have never taught our kids that going to the mountaintop need a struggle, need some obstacle. This is how we should do. And in my tradition where I come from, they say you're still a child of your parenting, even if you are 100 years old. Because the knowledge that they have, due to the experience that they have in life, you didn't have it. Now it's time to send our children to the school of life to teach them how life goes. It's not always your way. It can be an elder person way that if you follow, you will get there on time, maybe later on. But guess what? You could have learned something precious. When you look at OnPassive, you know why some people doubt OnPassive? Because they are behaving like when we were kids, we didn't listen to our parents when they were holding our hand to bring us to the school of life. When you look at OnPassive, you can register your child to a school of life, your grandkids, because when they come out, they meet something and they ask a question. How did grandma did this? How did granddaddy did this? And you, the daddy, you say, this is what happened. This is the education that I received. This is what granddaddy told me. That's why when you raise a girl who got married, You stay home, they bring you a man, mommy, dad, this is my the love of my life. I would really like to be with him because they taught you about it. They told you having a good life is not to go and be staying with a man somewhere without your parent knowing. But guess what? You were taught to do that. And when a mother and a father give their daughter in a good way, they go to see the pastor, they got married, they go to the mayor, marriage certificate, the two parents approve of that marriage. Guess what? They said the parent has just passed a PhD in education. Because it's not easy, Milo. It's not. I'm here. See, I'm in America raising children. I'm raising some orphans because I have a non-profit organization that I'm bringing in due to OnPassive. And this is something that we should focus on. Send our children to the school of life because we send them to the life of school. They graduated. What about the school of life? I was listening to this guy, Mr. Wonderful of Shark Tank. He was saying that we give all the education to the kids, but we have never taught the children how to make money. What we taught the children is grow up, go to school, graduate, have a degree, go to work, 9 to 5. That's it. We never taught our children how to believe in a business that come outlet on passive, where you'll be sleeping, money will be flowing, and you wake up one morning, you start screaming all over the place like a fool. But we need to do that part. It's time for us to say, listen, let's bring the children, let's register them to the school of life. That's only how you be like Julie, Dr. Benny, Sister Lynn, uh, Marty DeGamo, everyone. That's only when you say, wow, yes, I did it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. That's all what I have to say, please.
Roger, thank you so much. Nice to
My-
meet you. I haven't met you before. My name is Julie. Good to have you here with us.
I know your name than you know yourself because I know you are a great leader, Julie.
I
I've watched your show many times. Thank you. I
I,
appreciate your time.
I appreciate your kind words. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Raising children is it's an endless duties, right? And it's so true. When you're marrying your child away, yeah, that's when you actually got your PhD. I mean, I don't think that is the end of it, you know? There's
Yep.
grandkids coming and, you know.
Oh, yeah. You said it right.
For sure, for sure. Marty, I would like to talk with you. I know you're raising your grandchildren right now. Could you talk with us, seeing your wife, Dawn, is raising your 4 children, your 4 grandkids? What do you see? Marty.
Maybe it's muted.
I'm here. I'm here. I gotta confess.
I know you and Chris are.
No, not that idiot. I was talking to him, but I was chatting with somebody on the phone, and all I heard was 4 kids, Marty. So I don't have.
We're on the phone a lot, and literally, we're seeing you. Was talking to Dawn, and how Dawn is running around and helping raising your grandchildren. And please talk to us the difficulties that she has to face every day. And I know you're raising your grandchildren right now without even going into OnPassive right now. Could you talk to us a little bit about being grandparent?
Thank God for Dawn. I could tell you that. But I mean, everything you have, like Shorty has asthma. Alexis is having some problems. And you raise your family, and then now we're doing it again in our late 50s and 60s. But I'm a lot better grandparent than I was a daddy because you're older and you can handle things a little better. But it's rough because you're doing it all over again, and it's a different age, right? It's technology. Kids can find out stuff in 2 seconds, asking questions about stuff that I wouldn't ask when I was 9 and 10 years old. So it's a different world. Um, I, I I would never. I couldn't imagine not having them now. Uh, but it's a lot of work. It keeps you going. Dawn's got her feet are messed up. She's got whatever it is, something with her arch, and she's running around like she's 25 because the kids don't care how old you are, right? They got to go here, they got to go there. She took them. She took them to the dentist. The dentist yesterday, and then of course you got to. No, the regular doctor, and then Shorty, he's taking doctor shots. So you got to work on that for 3 hours before the thing. Can I go and not get a shot? Like, well, we don't know if you're getting a shot. Last time you said I wasn't getting a shot and I got one. Well, we didn't know it anyway. He didn't get a shot, by the way. But no, I mean that kind of thing where you're doing stuff again, and it is a lot of work, and we don't have any freedom, right? We can't. Usually now you could go do different stuff, and you can't do that. But that's okay. I'm willing to. It's worth it. I know they're in a good place, and I'm a family guy anyway. I don't do a lot of other stuff, Like I said, when the apples come in, you know what I want, Julie. I've said it 1,000 times. I just want a bigger living room so I can spread people out a little bit and invite people over. But yeah, I'm not. It's good. It's busy. I can't imagine a single parent. Well, single or not single, I wish I had OnPassive because it makes all the difference in the world. The biggest stress about kids all leads back to one thing. What is it? Money. It costs a lot of money to raise 4 kids, no matter what. And there's always something else. There's always, you send them to school and they've got some kind of fundraiser. I don't care what it is. You got to be involved or they'll be embarrassed, or cookies for Girl Scouts. I mean, it's just never ending. And if the money part of it wasn't an issue, it would eliminate a lot of stress. And that's a guarantee. I don't know how a single parent makes it. Really, I can't imagine. Well, you're a single parent, Julia. I hear you in the background too. You're constantly doing something or going somewhere. In fact, you're going to be going somewhere soon, right? You're always going. You're in the car every time. It's a busy life. But if you can eliminate that one stress of money, I told people I don't think about money. I don't need to be a billionaire, a million, I don't need it. I want to get to the point where I don't have to think about it. If I can get to where I don't have to think about money, I won. That's all I want. I just don't want to think about it. I don't want to see that lady in the store trying to find a few nickels to pay for her bill. I want to pay for it. I want to help people because you could be an angel in this business without going very far, right? I mean, you don't have to go very far. And when we were doing really bad, when the kids first started living here, people found out in the neighborhood and send stuff to us every holiday. Of course, I have their names and I won't forget for when things, if I'm blessed with this business, I'm going to pay back 100 times if I can. And never going to, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like when you don't have enough money. So no, it's hard. Single parent, even worse. If I didn't have Dawn, I couldn't do it because I can't move around like she does. She can't move around like she does. At the end of the night, man, she just collapses. But no, it's a rough way to go, especially with single. But I give a lot of credit to single parents, especially because you want the right thing for your kids. And OnPassive is going to make a key way for a lot of people to get rid of that stress of money. You'd be surprised how much money injects into your life where it fights over money. Not getting something is over money. That's the root of all evil. That's the evil of money. It's not when it controls you, whether you want more. Some people just can't have enough. That to me is just that's the root of evil. But to have enough to help others, I can't wait till that happens to all of us. Because where else have you met a million people that all they talk about is how much they can give away. So it's a win-win. And ask Drew people just like him. You know, when he was off, he gives away food and water. I know a lot of guys 47, 48 years old when they're off, they're not doing that. Okay. So yeah, he's unique. His company's unique. His products are unique. The movement is unique. In fact, this isn't a company anymore. I don't know what it's called, but the world's going to know very soon. And, you know, if you know any single parents, play them this video. Let them see. There is hope out there. People just lost hope. They don't believe anything, but you can't blame them. They don't want to follow anything because they got scammed. It's so negative out there. Nobody wants to, oh, I don't know if that's going to happen. But hopefully you can show them or talk to them and they'll see it, because very soon the door is going to close and there will never be founders again. It's an opportunity people shouldn't. I hate to see them miss it. We talked about on 2.5 Men today. It's not about me building my team. I haven't worked on my team in almost 2 years at all. Zero. I go to help other people build their team, because the more we do that, the better for the whole company. So I have no idea what your question was, but you know me, I can't remember. But yeah, single parent is rough. It's pretty rough as a single. Grandparents raising kids too. Yeah, no doubt. That's all I got. Chris will give you more words of wisdom. Chris, go ahead, buddy.
Marty, thank you so much. Yes, as I'm gonna bring Chris up in a little bit. You know, being single parent, let's say Leanne Bonnet here saying, you know, having 2 jobs, one job is already paid for sitters, right? And literally, you know, you have to make a choices whether or not you're going to send your kid to a babysitter and then make the money, right? Go to work, and half of it already go to sitter, right? Or even almost all of it, because you got to send them to after school, pick up after school. I mean, there is just so much work, so much expenses. And it's so true. Money is the factor. It's a big factor in this, because without money, it's disable you to literally having the times that you need to raise your kids, right? Chris is agreeing with me on that.
Absolutely. Julie, let me add one thing. You got me thinking about something. You know, a lot of single parents, they want to go out and get a job, but they can't afford to.
Yeah.
They cannot afford to go get a job. Why? Babysitting and somebody taking care of your kid costs, so you go out and you break even. So why would you do it? Now you have somebody watching your children that you really don't know, right? You've heard of the horror stories. So it's a nightmare for single parents. If you had OnPassive where you can be with your kids all the time and not worry about money, oh my God. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. I remember somebody saying, I can't afford to work. I said, that's crazy. What job is a single parent that doesn't have an education, or, you know, just a regular, what are they going to do? Some single parents, mother, wife, or husband, don't have a career. They either gave it up for their husband or they gave it up for their wife, and they spent 10 years with the kids. All of a sudden, okay, you're on your own. To do what? Flip hamburgers at McDonald's? What's that going to pay for? Yeah, it's really sad. It's a bad situation. And I'm sorry, Joe, you reminded me of something.
That's okay, Marty. Thank you for adding that. It's true. You know, when I had the children's father here, right? Our dream is to be able to have one parent working and the other parent is staying home full-time raising the children. But now you don't. I mean, it could be any situation where you ended up having a single mom or single dad at home. How could you actually holding a full-time job, right? To be able to raise your kid. How many hours are your kids in school? What if the day that child is not well? What if they have some kind of fevers or something? You had to keep the kids the entire week at school. That's a week job, right? So there's so much more into raising a kid than just, you know, feed them, right? Or give them shelter. So Chris, I'd like to bring you on. Let's talk about that. And then after Eric Kelslow speak, we're going to bring in OnPassive, how OnPassive actually going to help these situations. Chris, please unmute your mic.
Thank you, Julie. Let me back it way up. I'm going to still give you guys some what you probably already know. When you a lot of single moms, single dads are getting pregnant pretty young these days. All right. And you know, they don't realize the expense. Well, I'm not going to call it expense, how much it costs to raise a child. I'm looking at statistics. The average child, which most of us remember, goes to 8 to 12 diapers a day, which sets you back about $70 to $80 per month. I think it's a little bit more now. And if you choose to breastfeed, if you choose to give them formula, that's $900. It's about $1,800 a year just for that. See, a lot of people don't think of that. And like you said, like Leanne said, you got to go get a job now. You got to go, get a babysitter. One of the most important things for me is at that age is the most important time for you to be around your child, that bonding stage, that learning stage. And a lot of us, believe it or not, we might have missed it because we did work. If you were a single parent, or even if you weren't a single parent and you still had to go to work, and then you jump up a few more years where that child now is maybe 6 to 8 years old, and he's saying, "Mommy, Daddy, I got baseball today," that you paid a lot of money for him to play. And then you got to tell him or her, "Buddy, I got to go to work. I got to pay those bills," which is, to me, it is traumatic on a kid. I had to do that to my son and daughter many times because of my job. But you got to think about that, jumping up to what Julie's going to say. My thing, again, I'll say is OnPassive will set you free to not only, if you do get pregnant at a young age or you're starting a family, to be there with the family. I think you could just basically call OnPassive family, because that's what it's really trying to do. It's trying to put, everyone together all the time, and then when the family gets stressed out, let's all go on a little vacation. Let's get out of here. It opens the possibilities up for many, many things with a family. And then probably after about 2 years, you probably wish you were going back to work because of all the things that come along. If you have a little girl now, that's a whole different story. That price Julie got with the 270, oh no, you raise that number way up if you got a little girl, because that little girl is your angel, and you want to treat her like a princess. So it's one of those things in the mindset. But if you really think about it, go back in your lives. Maybe you were single, maybe even if you were married and you had to go to work a lot. How many times did you have to tell your kid, "No, I can't go, I got to work"? That was the hardest thing for me, is I got to go to work, even though they had nice things, but it was affecting me, because I'm like, man, I know my kid's real mad at me right now. He doesn't understand why I got to go to work at 8 years old. He doesn't understand that. And I hope to God, once OnPassive launches, that no parent that becomes a founder or a reseller or whatever they want to be in OnPassive has to say to their kid, "Sorry, buddy, I got to go to work." I want them to say, "Hey, I'm coming to the game. Max, I'm coming early." Every one of you, I can guarantee, has gone through this if you have a child. And that is the worst part. Julie, back to you. That's all I got.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you bring some of the points up. Absolutely. When you have a child was born in your family, all you want to do is spend as much time as you can with that little baby, right? You want to spend time, but it's so hard for you to leave, right? I'm going to have Eric Kessler and Dr. Benny coming up. I'd like you to focus on this subject first, right? We're going to bring in OnPassive in a little bit. Let's just focus on the difficulties that you see, that you experience, right? And then we're going to bring in the solutions right after. So Eric Kessler, if you could please unmute your mic.
Okay, well, then I'm going to come back and talk again later on how OnPassive is going to help. But, the one thing that it is definitely going to do, though, is change history, because history never changes. The single mother, the single father raising 3 kids, my mother did that. And I remember seeing sweat pouring off her face and her being sick. And I said, "Mommy, you need to stay home." "Well, I can't stay home. You can't make any money from staying home, you know? And so that's always touched my heart. And we'll get into that later, how I feel about how OnPassive is going to help with that. But you're talking about having a special needs kid. My son's not really a kid anymore. He's a man, but he's a kid still. And he lives in a group home. Your desire to take care of him, especially when they're not mainstream, never changes. Sure, he's living at a home and he's comfortable, medical's taken care of and everything, but it's all on the state, and then he gets a little bit of spending money, and then that's it. And Janice and I do what we can, of course. We're both retired, so we do what we can, and not a lot. But you start worrying about, we're both older. My wife's in her 70s. I'm in my 60s, middle 60s, and you start thinking about what's going to happen to him after we're gone. Who's going to look out after him? Well, you don't really have the money to consider that. You don't have the money to hire a lawyer to take care of that. So it's always on your mind. What's going to happen to Eric? Sure, I mean, who knows if what happens if the state goes broke? What happens to Eric's home? What happens to his bed? So it's a never-ending thing. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have special needs kids, and that as your kids grow older, when they're mainstream, sure, you still worry about them, but they can go out and they can get education, they can get a job. My son can't do that. He'll never be able to do that. I mean, he does go to work, but it's just menial work. It's nothing really. It's just something that he can do. Uh, so that's my perspective right there is on special needs kids. Uh, it's a never-ending, constant concern. I mean, you don't freak out about it or everything because you've been living with it for 30 years, but you always consider, you always not fret about it, but want to make sure he's going to be warm, happy, and healthy and fed for the rest of his life, even after you're gone. So that's one of my concerns. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for your story as well. As we listening to your story in the Julie and Milo show, you have shared a lot of things that's going on for raising a disability, a child with special needs. That's what I meant. And so appreciate you sharing here with us. Truly, everyone, the majority of us on the panel here are founders of OnPassive. We all understand the product, we all understand the opportunities, the possibility in OnPassive. I'd like you to start thinking about everything that we brought here on the table as the obstacle, the challenge, and the issues that being single mom, single dad, single parents are facing. What do you see how OnPassive is going to help? So I'm going to have Dr. Benny say a little bit more about the challenges. And then after Dr. Benny, we're going to start with William. And then I invite everyone to, if you have something that you can share in regarding how OnPassive, to me, OnPassive is basically a solution for a lot of the things that we are talking here. So I'd like you to start putting your mind into that perspective and raise your hands if you like to contribute. So Dr. Benny, I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you. I'll always say good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to each and everyone on this amazing webinar in different parts of the globe. I want to take this special moment to thank you, Queen Julie, for giving me this opportunity. Sometimes when I want to talk, being a single parent, it's so hard that a lot of people don't know. But when you are determined, pardon me, being a single parent is very difficult. But if you have tried, if you did everything and decided to bring children on earth, you have to do what it takes to take care of them. These children were not asked to be brought on earth. They were not. So you have to do what it takes. I have a son and a daughter. The first thing I did was I sent them to a daycare. Actually, it wasn't really a daycare. It was one old mother an old mom, an African mommy who was helping me, but I was spending a certain amount taking care, paying her. But I noticed that she wasn't really taking good care of, especially my daughter. You know, sometimes when you get there after work, you notice that they have not even cleaned her. She wasn't doing it. So I found out about a private school. I know that a lot of people send their children to public school, but I did what I could, despite the fact that at that time I was making only $24,000. But I did what I could. There was an opening, an opportunity. You know, sometimes the Lord is always with you. People may not believe that we have the Supreme, but I do. He was there for me. There was a private school that instead of you paying that daycare center, I was able to utilize that money to pay for that private school. When my daughter was, let me say 3 years old, I sent her to that school. But despite the fact that I sent her to that school, her teacher, just because of her name, they were not treating her well. But every day I prayed, they wouldn't even also clean her, right? So sometimes she would defecate and then they will call me. I used to work with the DC government division of immunization. So they will call me. I will leave my job, drive to that school, take her home, clean her, and bring her back. So that was difficult. That was the biggest challenge I have. Sometimes I will beat her, but I know that in America, they say, you cannot beat a child, but I'm sorry, I have to. If you don't beat, she would not learn. I did what I could. And then there was a time that they told us that they have to study something, you know, like Psalms 23. For the first time, I had no choice but to learn the Bible for her. Then as well as my son, when I'm driving, I will say, spell this. What is this? A man. How do you spell man? When I'm driving, he has to spell. You understand? Now, the Bible said that when you spare a rod, you spoil a child. I, as a single mom, I spare no rods. So I used to pay, I think it was $400 for one child a month. That was a long time ago. But I know that the daycare center now, they're paying a lot of money. And when I finally noticed that some of the daycare centers, the way they maltreat these children, it will make a single mother to do what it takes not to even, like if you're married, then the husband will say, my wife, please stay home because of what is happening at the daycare center. Stay home, take care of these children. I will go and do the work. But unfortunately, as a single parent, because I have my God, I push them, make sure they study very well. Then my daughter stayed in a private institution for 9 good years. And then I did not have money for them to proceed. So a friend of mine told me that it is being a single parent, you cannot stay in a like a PG county, move to Montgomery County so that you can go to like a Bethesda Chevy Chase High School for your children. So I want to let each and everyone knows that the environment matters a lot. when you're raising a child. It doesn't matter whether you are single or you are married.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do what it takes. Because you see the way some of these children behave, I am not lying. Sometimes you see this like the boys, right? They put their pants down. So this is what I told my son. I say, if you're going to behave like these children, I will deal with you. If you put your pants down here, half, I will push it down. Don't play with me. So you have to be tough when you're single. But what I did was I make sure that they go to school because I went to school. Why? Education is the key to success. Without education, to me, I am nothing. To be good is not good enough. You have to exceed expectation. So what I did also, when after they graduated from high school, they went to college. I took a Parent Plus loan for them. Why? I have no choice. Remember, I stated from the beginning that these children were not asked to be brought on earth. You have to do what it takes. But let me tell you one thing. I think there's somebody, Mr. Eric, you stated that you have a special need. I went and I worked in a group home for special need. For the first time in history, the way they were behaving, I came home and I had to kneel down and I thank God for giving me healthy children. And those with special need, the Lord is going to be with you guys no matter what. And that is why I said, sorry, with the OnPassive, I know with the All Blessed, I will do what it takes to help the special need.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing the life experience that you have. A lot of us are talking from the beginning until now. It's mostly focused here in the US, right? I know many of us here know one or two family across the other side of the world. I really wanted to bring this topic up. It's because I wanted to think back to when my mom was by herself raising 5 kids. When the communists came, as you know the story, my story, came over, captured my dad. You know, there's a lot of that going on. And he was away. He was in the communist prison while my mom staying home, raising 5 kids for 8 years. The poverty level at that time, I think my family was one of the below the poverty level at that time, right? The water that we drink, the little container that we drink, that has the water that we drink and wash and cook, it's truly rusted around it. There's nothing else. We live in a family of, at that time, my mom, 6 of us, and then my grandparents, and then their 8 other kids lived together. Before that time, when my dad was still around, my family, my mom and dad and my grandparents and all of that has drivers, has car, has people came and helped. You know, but when that happened, it changes our life completely. So as everyone understand, nowadays, there are other countries that live in below poverty level, right? And have kids. The effect of not enough nutrition, drinking dirty water, right? My brother was not able to walk until he was 9 years old. Malnutrition, right? Going from, you know, living above average down to the lowest level, right? To be honest with you, up until today, if I didn't have the opportunities or a chance to go to the US, I don't know where my life would be. Now, put your shoes in someone in that position, in that below that poverty level. wouldn't you want to tell them about OnPassive? Or wouldn't you think about them and say, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to help you out of that level, right? And that's why I like to bring on OnPassive for all of us to be able to share. A lot of what we have referenced here are just the beginning of it. There is so much more. Being parents, being single mom or single dad, there's so many things to do. I mean, we are here in the US, we have the options, right? School have after school options, we have tutors, we have childcare services from the government. There are so many options for all of us to be able to use. But still, it's a struggle. Imagine someone in another country have no options, right? Kids get out of school, wandering around the street, get lost somehow, kids wandering around, and perpetrator, right? I mean, just think about that. What if we could have the opportunity to literally help these kids, help these parents? Now, think about this. OnPassive is a artificial intelligence company, but yet it has a heart around it. It has a humanitarians around it. Imagine when you have little child, or you are a single mom, single dad, single parents, you have the opportunity to work at home, to have your own schedule, your own time. If you want to work, you can. If you want to travel, you still can. If you want to, anything you want, you can have within OnPassive. Think of the possibilities in OnPassive, the products, the opportunity. So I invite everyone here. As we all know, a lot of our founders here on the panel, we are founders of OnPassive, and some of us have been here months, how about 3 years? You do understand, you do see the opportunity. I'd like you to bring on some of the opportunity that you feel it's going to help the single mom, single dad, single parents as well. I'm going to start with you, William DeLome. William, if you would please unmute your mic.
Yes, I like to add a few things to that. Work is a necessity, as we know it, to provide food, shelter, and things of that nature. But when it comes to, I give an example. My grandfather, he won some money. He bought a cottage for the family, but I never went. I worked for necessity. And I think work is overrated because the more you work, the more they want you to work. I really find that very demanding on a person. Besides, you have other things like family and things of that nature that you just can't provide. And I can see what Chris said, he couldn't provide what was really needed. And so in the way history is going with work, I find it like it can be good in areas, but when you really have to get out there and earn, it's a different story. So can you see what OnPassive, how it will change history for people, and it will continue? That's my take on it, because why not start? We have to start because the government only puts a Band-Aid on things. It doesn't really provide what's needed. I truly believe that it's us that has to make a difference. So I was very happy to go and see him when he was put in the home. But I can remember sitting around the table, like there was 14 kids. And if there was a cuss word or anything said bad, it was a backhand across the head, and the head would go into the wall and dent the wall, most likely. He was a very strong man. So I had a really good relationship with him.
Thank you, William. I appreciate you coming on and share. I know it's very hard to think back and see what your parents came through. I appreciate you coming on and join us here. Thank you, William. All right, Marcianne.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm speaking from the great state of Texas, beautiful city of Houston. And I'm happy that, Julie, you brought this topic up. And it's something that we women, men, married or single, is a struggling of every day. And you said something that really got me to put my hand up. It's raising children, not in the United States. I came from Africa. Cameroon is my born country. I'm now in the United States. I raised children in both countries. Believe me, it was not easy. Starting from back home, it was even more difficult. They have some good part of it and some really bad part of it. The great thing of it is that I don't have to pay daycare because the auntie and the nephew, the uncle, they will go and play outside. And who cares? Nobody cares what is going to happen. That's the good thing over there, which is not good also because at that point, you don't know what your child is doing. The poverty level is something that you cannot imagine. Just like you, Julie, I was born in the family of 12 kids. And I'm the one that I have to take care of everybody, including my own children, because my mom and my dad were very poor. In my story, when I come to you, I told you one thing I'm going to have when I have my money. It was to give any bit of anything that my mother have never had before. But unfortunately, God did not allow her to wait for it. I struggle going up. And I thank OnPassive. I wish OnPassive was here 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I departed in America. I have a 2 weeks baby. I don't speak the language. I speak French. I have no family. I have to work. I have to sleep somewhere. I have to take care to this child. I have a language barrier. The first job I got, it was a housekeeping job in the hotel. They have to pay me $4.35 per hour. I have to leave my son. I did not have any schedule because the morning schedule was so difficult for me. Nobody to take care of my baby. The afternoon schedule was the worst one. Who is going to sleep with him? So things become so difficult. At some point, I was looking at my son and I said, boy, you are the only blood that left here with me. I have to take care of you. Just like Dr. Benny said, you did not decide to come to this world. Somebody have to do it, and that person is your mother. And at the same time, I will be talking to him. And I say, if something happened to me in this country, you will be the only person on my blood that one day will tell the story of your mother. Even though this child was just a man. He doesn't even know what I'm talking about. My child did not have a car seat because I didn't have any money. I have to tie him on my back, go to the street and begging people for a ride to go and work this housekeeping job. It was so difficult. When he was 3 years old, I have to take him to a care. I will be paying this lady every night to sleep with him so that I can go to work. And when I came back, the money is not enough for me to pay for the rent that I'm living, the room that I'm living in. So I have to work another job. At that same time, who is taking care of my son? Is one lady to one lady to one mother to one other mother. My son knows all those mothers as grandma. He doesn't know his real grandma because she wasn't around. She was back in Cameroon. I'm here in the United States. That's why I say I wish OnPassive was here 19 years ago.
Thank
I
you.
would have all that time to take care of him. So raising children is very difficult, but thank God we have the opportunity of OnPassive. We can do so many things. We can help the single mother by letting them not go to work because OnPassive is going to be working for us.
That's
You
right.
will have that time in your house to take care of your children. You will have that time to take care even on your own self. Today, I'm still working 2 jobs, but I know it's just a matter of time. It's going to be over. And that's the reason why every day when I'm in the webinar, I take OnPassive like my 3rd job. I don't play with it. I'll make sure that I listen to anything that is going on. I make sure I open my back office. I make sure I go to webinar. I make sure I follow everything because I'm serious. This is my job. And when I take a job, I do it with all my heart and soul. If I have been doing this job for $4 and I survive, what about the job that somebody is going to do? And all they're asking me is to come and listen and tell other people what is wrong with me. I have to be there 100%. So that's why I'm in OnPassive every day. And I tell all the women and all the men that we are raising children, let us don't worry because the time for us to smile, the time to do the thing that we have not done before is just around the corner and we're going to be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Marcienne. I really appreciate your sharing it here. Yes, your story, how excited you are. You see the opportunity, you see it through. And not only just seeing it, you're engaging in it, right? You're engaging in it and you all share. I mean, every one of you are listening to this conversations that we have here. Many of us are bringing up problems, challenges that we are facing, currently facing, or we facing in the past. You know, I do understand the fact that every one of you who are listening to this conversation, you do know a single mom or a single dad. It's so easy for you to be able to sit here and say, you know what, I've done it. I've done it. But how are you going to take your past experience or what you are facing today and then put OnPassive with it? And will you be able, are you willing to share OnPassive with others since you are seeing that opportunity? So the question for me here, I would truly like everyone to really thinking right now, how OnPassive going to help, right? Give us that solutions. It's been an hour now. We have talked about the difficulties, the challenge, the issues that we're all facing with or faced with when we raise our kid. What about now, moving forward? How are we as parents, as grandparents, as founders of OnPassive, how are we going to move forward from this point on with OnPassive in mind? Are you willing to take that action to share with someone that you face with or you talked with every day that are single mom, single dad raising kids? What about the people that you see, the single mom at the supermarket? You see that single mom has 3 kids around and literally counting every penny or every dollar to pay for grocery. Are you willing to step up and say, you know what, let me take care of part of the bill, or let me share with you this opportunity? You know, maybe when you talk to them like that, when all of us go out there and talk to them like that, we might change their life without we even notice. At the end of the day, someone out there that you share the opportunity of OnPassive at the supermarket, at the grocery line, they look up OnPassive and they said, oh my gosh, that lady Marcy Ann shared this with me years ago. Now I was able to do that. Truly, in the next year, 5 years, someone's gonna say, you truly changed my life. Is that a satisfaction for you? Because you took a minute or 5 minutes of your day or 15 minutes of your day to share OnPassive, right? Because all of us do know. So I would like everyone who has their hand raised and you're about to raise your hands, please, let's focus on how OnPassive can help. And or if you have a solution, how someone can approach a mom or a dad or a grandparent to share the opportunity of OnPassive, I'd like you to bring those up because a lot of people are listening here. It might help them as well. Eric Kessler, I'd like to hear from you.
I want to say one thing, Julie, and then I won't interrupt again. Well, I'm not planning on it. But Marcy Ann, one thing, keep in mind, nobody can help you with your past, but you'll always have family now. And when the apples come in, a lot of that other stuff will disappear. But you are truly a sister from another mister to me, okay? So don't forget that, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. She absolutely is. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, Eric Kessler.
Yeah, what OnPassive has done for me is that I've always wanted to have a business, and I'm like a lot of everybody here, tried a lot of things that never worked. OnPassive is working. It is the future. It is the present. What it's given to me is reawakening a lot of my dreams that were gone 2 or 3 years ago. I've been in 2 years now, and it's become 1,000 times more than what I ever thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a marketing platform, and I'd find another MLM and use OnPassive to market. But then it became a business on its own, and now it's a giant getting ready to rumble. So it's really reawakened my dreams. And the first dream I had is I talked about my mom. OnPassive is going to stop history. It's going to rewrite history. Mothers aren't going to have to do that, and they're not going to have to live through that. And a lot of the ways I plan on doing that is something Milo brought up, and that's finding people and paying for them to have reseller positions. And I plan on doing that. I mean, I'm going to do that, and especially going to be single mothers, and it's going to be places where with domestic violence and things like that are important to me. The other dream that it reawakened is Janice and I always had a dream of bringing Eric back to our hometown. He lives in a town about 20 miles north, and building a home for special needs people. And it's not going to be large, maybe 6 to 8 people, but it's going to be a nice place. And where he lives is a nice place. Don't get me wrong. But this is going to be a really nice place, and everybody's going to have their own room. We're going to have find the best people to hire to run the place that know how to deal with autism and other special needs, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with autism. And we're going to make it a really nice place. They're going to have workout center, and they're going to have daily activities where they're not just sitting around watching TV, things like that. So that's OnPassive has made that a reality for me, and it's really going to happen now. So when Oblast gets started, I'm putting that out there. So I'm just putting you guys on notice that you're going to help me build this house too. But anyway, it's no longer a dream. In my mind, it's already happening. I'm just waiting for the apples to come in, and it's going to happen. And we're going to be able to bring Eric home, and we're not going to have to worry about his future. It's going to be taken care of, and I'm just thankful for OnPassive for that. So that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Absolutely. It's the opportunity of the lifetime. And you could do everything. You could do everything. All you have to do is a founder of OnPassive, or just be in OnPassive, right? Do it now or do it later. But there is an opportunity that's going to be coming to the end. Why not today, right? Thank you, Eric, for sharing. All right, David Schweitzer, good to see you.
One
Hey, I'm
second,
doing
one
fine.
second, Julie. Sorry, David. Again, I'm interrupting, but it's only because Chris is asking to be co-host, Julie. I'm not host. I don't know who host is. It's not you. It's OnPassive. That's not me.
Oh,
So I can't give it to,
I will. I think it's my phone joining because I'm step away pretty soon. So
oh,
how
maybe.
that happened. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and have David. I'm gonna go out to my phone because I just throw my phone outside. I'll be right back. David, if you would please unmute your mic.
Hey, I just want to say that I'm not going to tell you my life story, but my mom raised 5 of us, and of course I was a good-looking one of the bunch. But but anyhow, I just want to say that what's good, it's good for single moms that they're going to be able to live the lifestyle, the laptop lifestyle, and it's just going to give them more freedom to spend more time with their kids and stuff, and that's what's good thing about that, and it costs a lot of money for a babysitter, and we all know what that's like. And it's just going to give them that much freedom, going to let them stay home, spend more time with the kids, and and there's other things that are going to be coming up. But yeah, they're going to living a lifestyle is just going to give them that much more freedom to do what they want, and be able to take their kids where they wanted to go, because when you don't have the money, especially when you're raising kids and you're on a budget and everything, it's hard to do what you want to do with kids, and I know what that's like because we lived on a budget. But anyhow, that lifestyle with OnPassive, for a single mom, it's going to change her life a lot. And like I say, it's a freedom. It's the freedom what's going to count for her, because she's going to have more freedom to spend more time with the kids and be able to go out and do what they want, do what they want with the kids. But like I said, I was the good looking one in the bunch. So, my mom raised 5 of us. So, so anyhow, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, David. It's so good to have you here with us. And I love it every time you speak, just so you know. All right, Chris, I'm going to send, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to step away. But before I step away, Chris right now is holding a mission right now. Let's focus on how OnPassive going to help with single parents. And I heard about Robert. I'd like to hear from you, Robert. And I'll go to my phone, Chris. Thanks so much for helping Chris and Marty. I appreciate you both. Robert, I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I know a lot of Vietnamese people here in Australia. But my story is not about that. It's about single parents, and one of the first or the last founder I've just signed up was a single parent, and I actually honed in on her one day, and I said I was walking. I walk every day. I do about 8-10 kilometers a day walking. I'm not now because it's raining. But one day I said, how you going? How's work going? So, a bit patchy. I said, listen, how long are you going to kick those cans down the road when you're just living by yourself and you're trying to get work? And I said, well, look, I've got something here that I think may help you. How about we get together and have a chat about it? And so we did that. We caught up, and I went on one of the walks again, and we sat in the park. And I explained OnPassive to her. Then I gave her all the information, and then we juggled that for a bit. And she finally came on board. But the beauty of that is, now that she's in OnPassive, she can see how wonderful it is and how it really can help her. That was my goal. I knew her 7 months before that, but I never said anything to her. So I found the opportunity because it's closing, and I think that's the main thing. So I'm happy she's come in, but also I have a girlfriend in Indonesia, and she's been a single parent for many, many years. I got her into OnPassive way back. And just recently, because I look after her daughter, I sent her to, they can't afford it, so I sent her to the university over there. And I thought, well, she needs OnPassive. She's gone there. She on the computers and that. So I got her mother to sign her up. I made her do it over there. I didn't do it from here. And so I see the need for those people who are by themselves. I see how they struggle. And I've seen it all through my life, actually. But I've had a fortunate life. I've had parents who worked. They had it tough in the beginning. But I think that's the theme today, is actually honing in on the single parents that you do see and actually meet. Thanks very much for your time.
Way to go, Robert. That was very, very nice to hear that. I'm looking at a list here. Julian said Violet, Ryan, and then we're going to go to Amy. Violet, are you on there? I don't see your camera, but I see your hand raised. Violet, you want to unmute yourself, please?
I'm unmuted now. I
Great.
just wanted to tell you a funny story about being a single parent. One of my son's babysitters' name was Yolanda. And the way I got to spend time with him was Yolanda lived at the other end of the city where I happened to go to work. We lived way the other way. So I would drive him with me and we would have that hour time on the highway looking, and we took the the Gardner, and it's a elevated highway and it looks over the harbor. So we would check out which boats were in, and then on the way home, we'd figure out, oh, they're gone or they're still here or whatever. And then one time I came home and I was talking to my son about Yolanda this and Yolanda that. And he says, Mom, she's not Yolanda, she's Mylanda. And I thought that was so precious. And the other thing is, he's 28, but he's got a grade 9 education, mainly because school was very depressing and the anxiety level was just too high. And so he would go to first class. Soon as the bell rang and everybody was in the hall, that was it. He came home. So right now he's streaming, and I totally forgot that I'm not supposed to be on a webinar while he's streaming. So I can't wait for OnPassive to get the I think it's OConnect or something that we can both use the computer. I mean the web. Yeah, but and there's one other thing. There is a doctor in the United States. I'm in Canada, and he does some serious work with depression and stuff. And he sends you, he does a SPECT scan and all kinds of other things, and he gets the exact medication that you need. I'm finding the psychiatrist just gives him whatever. And the trip there, we called and found out about everything. I think it would cost us a good when I found out, that was a long time ago. Let's just say 10,000. So OnPassive is going to get that together so that he can get his meds straight and thrive. I mean, he will thrive. Everyone's going to know about him, but it's going to be a while. Just thought I'd let you know. His name is Jason, and Jason means the healer. And there have been many times that he has been there for me to heal me. That's it. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Violet. Thank you very much. That was a cute little story there. Guys, Bill Musk just put something. He sent me a private message. I don't think he realized how important the message was. I wish he just would have put in the chat, but let me read it for you. It says, OnPassive has set the standards high for us to give back to others who have nothing. Pretty impressive, Bill Musk. Think about that for a second. All right, OnPassive has set the standards high. And who's OnPassive? We're OnPassive. Okay. So all these stories that maybe we cried over, or maybe we hurt pretty much our whole lives struggling. Most people struggle, believe it or not, in this day and age, unless you're truly blessed with a perfect life, which is not that rare these days. But just let's think about what OnPassive is really going to do for all of us, for our kids, for our single friends, for our married friends, to the children that raise their parents as they get older. Let's hear what do you think OnPassive is truly going to do for those people through us, who was through Ash and his vision. Let's hear some really high end standards about what's going on. What are we going to do, and what it's going to make us feel like when we're able to hand this blessing out to everybody. Amy, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. I love Julie and Milo show, and thanks for filling in tonight, Chris. I was a single mom for 8 years. My children were 1 to 6, and there was 4 kids in between. And I was destitute then, and I'm so grateful for OnPassive now. And I know that we'll be able to help all of the single women like I was at that time. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I also have a son who passed away with Down syndrome. So I do want to help in that aspect as well. So in the United States, there's a hospital in St. Jude, and there's other ways that we can help in different categories. And I'm excited about the prospect of being able to give back, because so many people have given to me and helped me through the years, and I'm looking forward to being able to help.
Thank you, Amy. Amy, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm proud to say that my very first nephew has Down syndrome, full-blown Down syndrome. He's 29 years old, and he's one of the big loves of my life, because he's never sad. So there's a blessing in everything. God puts us all here for reasons, but thank you for sharing that wonderful story. That's what I'm talking about, Amy, right there.
Give him a hug for me, please.
I will do that. Okay, Amy, thanks again. William, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you, Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud as Marty.
Good deal. You know, I think about what it's going to be like, you know, once OnPassive is actually rolling and we're being able to realize income. I mean, we look at things now, and you know, we see people out there that we want to help, but you know, times is tough, and most of us probably are not able to reach out and help people like we really want to. But once that OnPassive ever, you know, gets to that point, you know, when we see somebody down, or we see somebody needs help, and maybe even, you know, help them get into OnPassive. I think it's going to make a big difference around the world, not just, you know, in our country, but around the world, because, you know, there's a lot of people that need, you know, we might be in a situation where we need to, but still there's a lot of people out there in need. And I think OnPassive is going to be that key to unlocking the door for us to be able to help people like we want to. I just think it's going to be a big blessing for all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely, William. Think about it. 1,200,000 founders plus. And
Absolutely.
You darn well know that most of us put our kids, maybe they're 1, 2 kids, you're maybe your mom, your dad, your uncles and aunts. Just think about what you've already changed already in your family.
Absolutely.
Think about that for a second. It's going to be, I don't think it's the key. I know it's the key. And that key is definitely going to start every engine in the world. So, William, thank you for that.
And I've managed to be able to, you know, get my whole family, you know, into OnPassive, and I'm just thankful for it. I'm thankful I was able to do that.
William, what's one thing that you've always want to do for your children or your nephews or nieces that you couldn't do?
Well, I've always wanted to make sure that they all had an education, because, you know, this day and time, some people thumb their nose at education, but at the same time, you know, without it, you kind of out there wobbling around, because I mean, it takes a good education this day and time. And I just like to be able to make sure that all the kids have that opportunity, to get education that they really want and need.
Amen to that, William. Thank you, William, very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, if I'm gonna say this right, Bahar, is that how you pronounce it? Bahar?
Yes, yes, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Chris, for giving me the opportunity. And all of those stories that I heard, they are very interesting stories. And I think each and every story, I think, is as good as to write a book about it. More especially, Dr. Benny's story, I was so, amazed and very inspiring. And so are the other stories also, Mercia's story, and forgive me if I was not able to mention all the names, but they are all interesting stories. And I always, find myself relating to their stories too, because, I myself also was partially at least brought up by a single parent. And way back when I was about 9 or 10 years old, my parents, they have their difficulties, and then also they parted ways, and I was adopted by my grandmother. So my grandmother, at the time I was, I go to school, and then she decided to dedicate herself the rest of her life. At the time, she was in her late 50s or early 60s. So she adopted me, and then she used to sell firewoods to the village school, at least to provide food and clothing for me. And thereon, and then, she saw me through school, from middle school to high school, until, I was maybe close to age 20. Then by the time, I left the village, go to the college in the city. So, and those days it was tough. It was not easy. So the poverty was so bad. And then from when I finished my college, at the college things were not easy also, because I have to go during the day to the college, and then during the evening I have to go and do some work, either work in restaurants or go to do like a private schooling for families. So things like it was not easy. But after that, when I finished my college, I migrated to West Africa, and luckily for me, I've got a very nice job. And from that job also, I dedicated myself for my family. And I was able also, my grandmother's wish was to go on pilgrimage to Mecca. So I took her to Mecca, and then I fulfilled her dream. Then after that, I got married, and God blessed me with 8 kids. And those 8 kids, my grandmother's story was very inspiring to me. So I decided to dedicate myself to my children. And I decided, to see them through school, through college. And luckily now I'm able now to at least see 5 of them graduate from university, and 3 of them are still in the university. And I was able to send them to private schools. And, I'm here, and then I sent them to you can imagine, to different places. One of them, I sent him to the Canadian University in Cairo, Egypt. And 2 of them, I sent them to Russia, of all places, to private schools in universities in Russia. They graduated from Russia. And 2 of my daughters, they graduated from a Nigerian university, and the rest are still in the university. But in the process, I also incurred a lot of debt, because at the time I'm sending my children to school, I'm also going, I'm also going to school. So I registered myself to do my master's degree, and I'm still on it. And in the process also, I incurred a lot of debt. So when I saw the opportunity of OnPassive, I saw this is something, the blessing from God. And hopefully, I will make it, and it's going to change a lot of lives, I believe. So that is part of my story. I hope it will also inspire some people to at least dedicate themselves to the families, and to bring up, some people are said that we are the one who brought them to this world, and we have to see them through the life. And there's nothing better to give to your child other than the school. The school is a sure ticket for his or her success. So I think I urge every one of you to do at least to dedicate yourself to your children, because good communities always start from good people and from good children. Thank you for giving me opportunity, Chris.
Holy cow, am I sure glad you raised your hand. You know what? To me, you're a true blessing from God. Taking care of your family. I think you just shared some pretty amazing stuff that you just shared with me, because I'm every once in a while I get blown away about someone that who actually dug into their family, who actually went into debt for their family because they loved them.
Right.
I mean, think what OnPassive is going to do now, because I know your kids absolutely appreciate what you've done for them. Now imagine through OnPassive, what do you think is going to happen through OnPassive to help your kids and your grandkids out? What do you think, Bar?
Right. Thank you.
You're amazing, man. I love you for that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Chris, can you make Julie the driver host? Or no, Marty, can you make her co-host?
I think she's already co-host. Oh, she's on her. Give her her phone, Marty. Dr. Benny, go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
All right, I'm back. Last time I stated that I have, my father has 27 children. Anyway, some of those children, they're still young. And knowing that we have OnPassive, as a single parent myself, I will continue to go out there to spread the good news about OnPassive. Why? People don't really know the importance and the benefit of OnPassive. So we have OBLESS, we have Academy, we have all staff and the rest. But because we have 1.2 million, OBLESS, you know, with that 1.2, $1 can really, really help each and everyone. Now, I do have my, should I say stepbrother or half brother? He was born the day my mother died. So he always bothered me. But I said, because he is named after my mother, the traditional. By the way, I created an email for him, as well as all my other stepbrothers and sisters. So our CEO is here to eradicate poverty and to uplift humanity. I will continue. I worked in a group home here in this country, and I saw the way those children were suffering. I worked in a nursing home. Like my fiance, she was making $4 something. I started with $2 something. Now, you know you have to push yourself to do something. You can't just sit and be bragging you're making like $4 an hour, or you have been working for 26 years and you're happy. No, because of OnPassive, you can go out there, spread the news and say, hey, my sister, my brother, to the single parents, whether you are single or you're married, that with this opportunity, with OnPassive, you will not suffer again. You will be able to help your children. There are a lot of single parents in this country. The mothers, because I used to teach in a high school here in America for this, should I say disabled children? Yes, I was. So some of these single parents, they cannot even help their children with their homework. They can't. So with Academy, they will be able to do something, right? If they join OnPassive, I don't think they will work anymore. They will be able to educate their children now. You understand? So I just want to let each and everyone know that let's go out there and spread the good news about OnPassive, because we have the CEO. Without him, you and I will not be here today. OnPassive is going to help each and everyone. I will utilize OBLESS for the orphanage, for the widowers, because some of them don't even have the money to even join OnPassive. So I will do my best because I feel for them. I urge each and everyone, especially the single parents, that since you guys have joined OnPassive, let's do our best to help everybody, especially those in the group home. Those children really need serious help. Let's do our best. Are you guys ready to share the good news about OnPassive? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Benny. Appreciate you. You're right. I can't wait for Mo Bless. Okay. I know Julie has her hand raised, and I know Greg has his hand raised. I'm going to call Greg next, but I would like to call two ladies out that seem to inspire me and ask to raise your hand. I know that these two ladies, what they do and what they're going to do, but I would love to hear after Greg what they're going to do. And that would be Miss Polly Cherry. You knew I was going to call you, Polly. I knew it. And Miss Sandra Fletcher. If you two would please raise your hand. And right after Greg, you're going to unmute yourself. I would love to hear your stories. And then Julie, I might let you in. I don't know yet. It's my show now, sister. Greg Larkin, and raise your hand. Greg, are you still Latican? Are you still there?
Oh, Lakin.
Lake, sorry.
Lakin, can you hear me?
Oh my God, I can hear you.
Hey, I'm in dealing with sometimes my video is on, and sometimes well, anyway, it's a Zoom problem anyway.
That's okay.
I wanted to get as much as I can people into electric vehicles, cars and trucks, and they're making electric planes near Burlington, testing them.
Yep.
We need to get off petroleum really quickly.
Hey, Greg, you're talking to the right guy. I hear you every Monday, and I know your passion for electrical cars, electrical planes. Take it from the guy who came from an auto shop for 32 years. That is being put into play. Okay. Electric cars, electric planes, electric ships are all coming. And I better see you when we launch. I better see you, no bless, talking about it big time right there. But this show today is for like single parents, but I appreciate your passion. But I'm letting you know, brother, I'm behind you 100%. And I can't wait to see you.
I mean, I have got a few relationships, but I've never got married. I've been being injured from middle of my college experience. I woke up in a Grand Junction Hospital after going a month earlier. Telluride Junction, there is a jazz concert. But anyway, I took about a year off school, went back to school, but I like the woods a lot better than New York City, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
But people got to learn that we're not the only creatures on this planet.
Absolutely.
Especially when families are having like 12 kids or something. We gotta, sex is good, but sometimes responsibility is something too.
Absolutely. Greg, I thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Keep those electrical cars going. And I promise you, my brother, it's here. That is coming. That's already in effect. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on. Okay. So now, did Julie put her hand down? Hey, Julie, I don't want to call you yet. I'm having too much fun. You got away. Polly Cherry, you go ahead first, please. And then Miss Sandra Fletcher, you can follow. And then we might let Julie on.
Hello, everyone. I came from a very big family of 10. And I was raised by this is a little bit sad when I talk about it. It just brings back memory. I was raised by my grandmother, and many, many years I was asking around, why was I raised by my grandmother? I never got the answer from my mom. But finally, I had a couple of aunts who mentioned to me why I was raised by my grandmother, probably up until maybe I was 11 years old. And the reason why it's because my mom, unfortunately, she didn't have enough food basically. So back in those days, my grandmother would come over to the house and visit us. So one particular time she didn't come probably for about 2-3 weeks. And that day when she came, apparently the story was, I almost died. Okay, and so my grandmother took me back to her home and she basically nursed me back to health. So this is why, I have a very, very big heart for homelessness. That's where my passion lies. That's why probably you don't see me too much on webinars or whatever, because I am always volunteering, even through my church, outside of my church. I'm just always working with the homeless. Another part of the reason why, I definitely want to use Oh Bless is to help single parents as well, because at one particular point, I used to be able to go to my church and they had a program called Single Mother Ministry. When my daughter just started grade 1, I didn't have a car, and my church basically, gave me a car. I mean, it was a secondhand car, but that really helped me to drive my daughter to school. So I'm gonna make sure once I start getting those apples, I will be blessing. I would go to the single ministry and I definitely be telling my story, and I'll be able to be helping single parents for sure. Definitely. So that's all I got to say for now.
Polly Cherry, I'm waiting for the book you're going to write, and I appreciate all you do because I know you do a lot, and I love you to death, my sister, for all that stuff that you have been doing even before OnPassive. So you're a beautiful soul to me.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing, Polly. Miss Sandra Fletcher, you want to come out because I know you got something wonderful to say.
Hello, everyone. Yes, to start, I grew up with a lovely family. I always had my mom and my dad, so that wasn't a problem. And growing up was okay because everyone as a family, we would get together and so on. But now I have my grandchildren, and it would be nice to spend more time with them instead of working, right? So yeah, I will enjoy in the future having more time to spend with them and helping my daughter out with them. Yeah.
Sandra, thank you very much. That's why I wanted to call you, because you're just a positive lady. I love you to death there.
Thank you.
All right, before I hand it over to Julie, I'm going to torture her a little bit more. I just want to remind you, we're a big box of crayons, Crayola crayons, different colors. We're also a big rack of spices.
Chris, please don't torture Julie, please, on my sake.
We're a big rack of spices. We all just learned a little bit about some more people in here. Some of us had it pretty tough. Some of us maybe not so tough. But like Julie said earlier, we got to walk in people's shoes today. All right, life isn't always perfect. We all understand that. But you guys made it perfect for my world tonight, because I enjoyed listening to stories. And just know this from the big head here, that this is coming very soon. And I can't wait to see the bigger smiles on all your faces of what you're really going to do with OnPassive. You already know what it's going to do for you. But I know in my heart, Polly Cherry, that Polly Cherry lady, she's going to feed a lot of people. And no one's going to have to ask her to do it because she's been doing it her whole life. So I can't wait for that. And Australia and Robert, once they really find out who Robert is, they're going to be blown away. Why didn't I get to know this guy a long time ago? He's another rock star. You're all rock stars. But I'm going to give it back to Julie Negwin. Julie, it's all yours. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Chris, for stepping in. Thank you so much, everyone, for speaking tonight. You know, my mission for tonight was able to start, let everyone kind of like thinking a little bit further than where we are standing, right? Because where we are standing are so blessed, but I didn't expect the fact that our conversation tonight really took us back to before, really took us back to all of us, where we came from. And where we are today is basically, you know, where we was born, where we all came from. It kind of shaped us where we are today. As a single parent, if you are watching, there is hope. You know, there is hope there in this world. All you got to do is getting back with the person who shared this webinar, who shared this recording with you, because there are people out there that watching over you, that are watching your back, that are thinking about you. If you are thinking about, you know, how are you going to move on now that your child is 10 years old? What about your child is starting at college age? Where are you going to go from this point on? I mean, you have saving, no college saving, right? I am in that shoes too myself. But look at where I am right now. I do own a business right now, online business, which is going to be multi-million-dollar business, artificial intelligence, information technology, right? A business where it's enabled me to be able to have time to pick up my daughter, to be able to have time to involve in her activities, right? I do have other business as well, products business, real estate business, right? With OnPassive, with the products that OnPassive is offering right now, I am able to be able to do that without, you know, physically work for it, without even sitting at home or sitting in that workplace. So single parents, single mom, single dad, single grandparents, there is hope, right? All you have to do is get back with the person who shared this with you. Ask them about it. Ask them about this opportunity, because with this opportunity in your hand, you will be able to turn your life around. Not only your life, your children's life, or if you're raising grandchildren, you are able to give them the ability to build your legacy, not only yours, their legacy, right? Give them strength, give them the passion because of OnPassive. And it is okay to say, I'm at the end of the rope right now. I'm at the end of my financial right now. I need help. Get back with the person who shared this with you. It doesn't take much. It's probably take the cost of a family meal for you to become part of OnPassive, be the founders of OnPassive. When you come in and you join us all here, you have 1.2 million people around the world watching, 1.2 million people, and millions of people more will be in that community, will be with you. So get back with the person who shared this with you. Thank you so much. All the speaker who spoke today. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Marty. As always, both of you are always supporting the Julie and Milo show. I know Milo is out there. We do hope that he feels safe, and we do hope that we'll see him again on Saturday. Julie and Milo show are running Wednesday and Saturday, Wednesday at 6:30 and on Saturday at 2 p.m. We do hope that you come and join us. And if you have ideas, contributions that you want to be part of it, we would love for you to let us know what topic can we cover. Thanks so much, Lynn, for helping with the panel today. Thank you all the speakers who spoke today. And as always, we do hope that you stay safe and plug in if you are founders of OnPassive. And if you're not founders of OnPassive, please get back with the person that shared this opportunity with you. This opportunity will end very soon, probably a little bit more than 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, very short. Get back with the person who shared this with you. Thank you, YouTube viewers. If you're watching us through YouTube channel, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Good night from Orange County in my car. Thank
Julie,
you so much everyone for joining.
Julie, in your car.
Good night, Julie.
Tim Dillon raised his hand. We still got a couple minutes. Let's let
Buenas noches, Julie.
Tim,
Please,
Tim,
thank you. Thank you, Chris. Please take over.
Tim, go ahead, buddy. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Chris. Julie, you guys are wonderful. And I'm having trouble getting my words tonight. So I feel everything that everybody spoke about. And that's the beauty. That's the true beauty of OnPassive, is the feeling that you get from it. What we're going to be able to do, we won't know until we can do it. When we can do it, the light bulb's going to go off. Julie, you know what light bulb moments are about, or are they movements? I just wanted to thank everyone who spoke, because everyone who spoke brought so much value about how and what it can do. Thank you all, and God bless us. We're going where the ears will pop, and as Marty says, bleed. Good night, folks.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Julie, shut her down, Julie. She's all yours.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate
Everybody.
you. Marty, I appreciate you as well. Please, you have the button. Thank you everyone for joining us. Take care. See you
Good
next
night,
week or
everybody.
see you
Good night,
Saturday.
Everyone, thank you. Best of luck.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. I'll see you at the very top.
Chris.
Yes.
Bye, Chris.
Bye from Virginia. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Hi, Joyce.
Love to you all.
All
Lovely.
right.
Thank you all
Julie,
for coming and
the camera off, but
supporting.
hello,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
You guys are
Good
amazing.
night.
Good night.
Lots of love.